Would you say that you're happy in your professional life and your personal life?
Excited when I go into the office, and I feel excited when I'm back home. Some fear was in there, because I would hear it from them. My work is important, but my baby's life is literally directly depending on me. I learned actually a lot. That's probably why I wrote that book too, because I learned so much about not only the pregnancy, but about myself and how to deal with things that weren't directly related with the pregnancy. Working for you as an intern, that editing, I think, shifted my path even more into editing. Get curious, keep moving, keep doing.
Today, we're weighing in on Sandra Lena's Weigh In. Sandra Lena, a dynamic and passionate professional originally from Spain and currently based in Los Angeles, has always had a profound desire to make a positive impact on others. Armed with dual bachelor degrees in journalism and audiovisual media, as well as an associate degree in dramatic art, Sandra's thirst for knowledge led her to immerse herself in diverse cultures across various countries. With a rich and varied background, Sandra infuses her personal creative touch into every project she undertakes, beginning her journey in Spanish television and musical theater, where she excelled in acting, singing, and dancing. Sandra later transitioned her focus behind the camera, particularly in the realm of video editing. Her talents have earned her international acclaim, with credits on hit shows such as the Emmy-winning The White Lotus and Golden Globe nominees like Daisy Jones and the Six or Dopesick. As an author, Sandra achieved early success with her best-selling debut novel, Historias de Comienzo. Expanding her creative repertoire, she ventured into children's literature with the bilingual series Abby la Abeja, or Abby the Bee, offering young readers an engaging learning experience in both English and Spanish. Her latest book, Natural Birth: The Power of the Woman's Body, delves into pregnancy preparation for natural labor, inspired by Sandra's own journey to motherhood and the joy her son brings to her life. Welcome to the show!
Thank you so much. What a lovely introduction. That was beautiful.
I'm so glad to finally have you here. So Sandra and I met years ago. It's like past 5 years now, right?
Yeah, it's probably
Yeah.
7 or 8.
Yeah, probably 7 or 8 years. I was working with Dr. Holly Carter and I was looking for an intern and I don't
Yeah.
even remember what I posted it on. Do you remember where it was posted?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Was
Because
it
at
it
the time,
wasn't
I think I was
Craigslist.
looking at everywhere.
Actually, I think it was like some kind of intern site. But anyway, Sandra came in and we connected instantly. We started working with each other and we've been working with each other ever since. She's amazing. So I want to get into your humble beginnings. Like, you're originally from Spain. Who was young Sandra in Spain?
I think that I've been always been this explorer and curious person. So I just want to learn about everything that crossed my way and caused me interest. I have always tried to learn more about it. I think that I've always had a base for the editing side. There's always something that I wanted to chop up and made into something beautiful as a one whole. But I've transitioned from different roles in and out, I think, because it helped
But wait,
build,
who was young Sandra when you were in
like, even
Spain?
younger.
Yeah, even
Dang.
younger, like little girl or teenage Sandra. I always like to hear about who that person was.
Hmm.
Did you know what you wanted to do? Were you still dreaming? Were you
No.
like a playful kid? Like, who was Sandra?
I wanted to always be older. I remember that. I always wanted to do whatever the grown-ups were doing. Like if the kids were just playing, I wanted to know what the grown-ups were talking about and be involved in that. And then funny enough, that was like 3, 4 years, 5 years old. Then I'm like, you know what? I want to like play in the park too. But that was a funny way of me being me. Always wanted to know what's happening on the people, I guess, that I wanted to look up to. But then I also, like would play and do things, and I was always doing something. I was dancing, or I was literally, since I was really little, with my friends preparing, or my either my friends or at the recess or with my cousins at home, we were preparing a show to show our parents or show something, and I would always prepare a show and be like, okay, now we're gonna do this dance, and now we're gonna like sing whatever this is and do something.
So that's where you got your dancing and your singing, your musical sensibilities from.
Yes, yes, yes. I always wanted to be doing something. I didn't like just being like, waiting for something to come to me. I was just trying to.
Yes, you can tell that you're very creative because creatives don't like to be stagnant. They always want to feel like you're doing something creative. So,
Yeah.
what sparked your interest in the audiovisual world?
I think it was willing to preserve what I was doing because, as I was saying, since very little, since like 5, 6 years old, I will try to make these shows with my friends at school or with my cousins at the house. So I think that I wanted to preserve that instead of just being like, I put so much work into this thing. Granted, at 5 or 6 years old, the show that you put together is like a couple dances that you hear on the radio or something like that. It's not like, this major thing. But I
But to
think that
your
I wanted
young
to.
mind, it probably was. It was a major thing,
Yeah,
right?
probably in my mind, I was like, this is amazing. And so I think that's what it was, that I wanted to make it last. Not
Yeah.
only have it in my memories, but like, and then I think that developed into more things.
Yeah. So you started your career out in Spain and then you transitioned to the United States. Were you already speaking English? What was the transition like for you?
Yes. Before coming here, I lived in England, Ireland, and France. So I was already
Oh,
speaking English, and I have a really mixed accent that I wasn't aware about. I wasn't aware because for a Spaniard, I had an amazing accent. It was so good. And then I came over here, and then I came with this blob of accents from like all of the different places I was living in right before coming here, that I remember people kept asking me, what is that accent from? And I'm like, I have an accent. What? Do I have one? Then, of course, to this day, I still do. But I was like so convinced that I was so good. And I was good. I was able to speak English, but I needed to improve because there were words that I didn't know at the time, or words that I would say in British that didn't really translate here. And
wow.
again, new words. And I had, grammar things that I needed to improve. So it was like a little bit of a learning process still when I came here, but I came knowing English.
That's a part of your makeup. You're always finding ways to improve yourself. So what were you doing in the other countries?
Oh, so I was basically trying to get better at English, but at the same time, I always found some sort of work or internship that led into a work related to something in the entertainment industry. I went to Ireland to continue my English, but I found this production company that was looking for just people to like help out with things, and I would just do that. I would just help out. In France, for example, I actually went as a dancer, but same
Okay.
thing. I talked to somebody and I ended up also doing more stuff. I just didn't want to, I guess, just do one thing and missing on opportunities. I guess that's my thing, like missing on
Yeah.
opportunities.
How was it for you when you left Spain? Because so you went to Ireland, you went to the UK, you said?
Yeah.
So how was that? Like, were your parents like, okay, bye? Or were they like, no,
Um,
don't go because you're their oldest, right? It's you and a younger brother, right?
Yes, yes. So the thing with my parents is that they are very, very protective, and they have always been sort of scared for me to go and do my thing. But at the same time, I would show them the plan that I have because we have a really good connection, really good communication, my parents and I. So I would be like, "This is what I want to do, and this is what I want to have," and they will ask like, "What are you leaving? What? How are you gonna sustain yourself?" And then I will have whatever I drafted for myself to do because I like to be organized, and I brought that across the world.
You're
Granted, it was
very
scary
organized.
because otherwise things are gonna come your way that you don't expect for sure. So I don't want to come across a situation where I literally have no idea how to survive. So I wanted to at least have a base, and from that base, then tackle whatever would come. They let me be myself. They have always let me be free and be myself. Sometimes I will hear in their voice their fear, but they
Mhm.
will also push me to do what I wanted to do. So it was a
That's
struggle for
good.
them too. But I'm really happy that they let me be.
Yeah, that's good that they trusted you to take care of
Mhm.
yourself. And then What were you going through? Were you afraid, or were you just excited for this new adventure? You may have had some fear, but it was like, I'm going to be
Yes.
going to this new place. I'm going to soak in everything. I'm going to learn everything. What was it like for you?
Yes, I was scared, but I think that's also why I like to be organized because that brings that scare down. Because again, my parents were really protective, so even though they were letting me go and do things, some fear was in there, because I would hear it from them. So I think being
Hmm.
organized helped me be like, it's gonna be okay. Because I was also
Right.
very excited. Because
How old were you?
the first time I left, I was 16, and I
Wow.
left. So basically, 16 and 18 I will leave to in the summer, so then I will come back home and come back to studying, so I would leave for
Okay.
the like 2 months, so it wasn't like here I've been 10 years. It was for 2 months, 2 months in the summer, and then in France I think I was there for 3 months and a half or something like that. So there were longer stays, and I moved there for that period of time. But then I knew that I was coming back. It was an open-ended contract that I have as a dancer. They told me at first 2 months, and then it transitioned into almost 4 months, and then I came back
What
to
kind of
Spain.
dancing were you doing?
I was dancing for Disney. I was
Oh,
hired by
really?
Yeah, I was hired by Disneyland Paris. So I was one of the dancers that would do things in the park. They came to audition in Spain, and yeah, I did my dance and my acting, and then I got cast, so I went over there, and so I would work
Okay.
in the park, and then with other people in Disney, we were all artists. We were
Yeah.
always like do what short films or music videos, or we would make
Hmm.
ourselves do something.
Yeah.
Way of
So let's get into you becoming an editor. Eventually, you find yourself in LA. You did some summers with Disney in these different countries, right?
Mhm.
And then how do you decide that you go to LA or New York? Like, why was LA the place for you to go?
It's funny. I was about to move in, or move to this side of the world with a friend, and we were about to go into New York. It's funny. Like we were planning for New York, and then she ended up staying in Spain. So it was just me. And then I don't know. It sort of happened. I want to believe that because I am so afraid of the cold, or not afraid, I just don't like being cold. I want to believe that that had something to do, but I'm not sure.
It may have.
I get cold here and we're like 55, and I'm like, oh my
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying, like, you think about the entertainment business and you either go to New York or you go to LA.
God.
So now you're in LA, and what was it like for you? What was the first thing you were doing? What did you start looking for so that you could get into?
So I remember I was probably the first thing that I did is I was going to this dance studio,
Hmm.
and I was taking just a few classes, and they had a production side of things. And once I learned about that, I say, hey, what do you do? How does this work? And they say, we actually have a program where if you help us with the production thing, you actually can get classes for free. And when you come here, there's not a lot that you have. So basically, me being able to get stuff for free that I love because I wanted to go to those dance classes, at the same time fulfill some curiosity about how things will work here, that was just amazing. So I started with coordinating dance videos that they would do, and then I would transition into editing and do some like help with some editing of those videos, and I would get my dance classes for free, as many as I wanted. So that was pretty
That's
cool. That was
cool.
probably the first production editing gig that I got when I came to the States.
When you came to the States, how old were you?
24, I think.
Okay, and then by that time, you had already had your degrees in audiovisual media, so you
Mhm.
had your
Yeah.
production experience, right?
Yeah, yeah. So when I came
Okay.
here, I actually had a good job in Spain. I actually was editing for this, not big production company, but they had a lot of like work. So I was working, and then I think it was either on the weekends, or sometimes I would ask for time because I was also working as a musical actress for kids around, mainly on the weekends. So I was like combining those things. Like people actually thought, "What are you doing? You are actually lucky. You actually have work, and you're not only working because there was a big issue in Spain with work. A lot of people was unemployed, and I had a
Mhm.
job, and I had a job in my field. So people was like, what are you doing? You're going to the uncertainty. You don't know what's going to happen. What you have right now, you're going to lose. I decided I wanted to leave, and it has led to amazing opportunities and jobs here.
Yeah, isn't that the
Amazing people
best?
like you we've met. So
Yeah, isn't that the best when you don't move based on fear, but you actually move in fear? Like, all right, I might be scared, but I'm gonna do it anyway. You
yeah.
know, that's essentially like what you've done. So, okay. So by the time you're in the States, you're around 24 years of age, you have this experience of audiovisual media and mainly
Mhm,
editing. And
mhm.
why editing of all the different post-production or production departments you could have gotten into?
I think out of all of the roles that I touch, and later on I kept touching on more things. To be honest, like fully honest with you, I think that working for you as an intern, that editing, I think shifted my path even more into editing. I think that the different projects we were working on, the feedback you specifically will get me, and this is not because I'm talking to you, this is because this is how I feel. I think it shift that into a, oh yeah, yep, yep, this is, yep, keep loving it, yep, this is I like it, yes.
I love
Because I
it. I
was
love it.
working, yeah, because I also work on I did some lights and cinematography a little bit, and I'm like, nah. Then when I was working in producing, I was just like, this is too stressful for me. This is not for me. I am stressed with other things, but this type of stress doesn't align with my personality. It just doesn't. On the
Yeah,
other hand,
you have to have a certain kind of personality to produce. And I love it. It's funny. I love it.
exactly. And then on the other hand, I loved working as an assistant director because that was a different type of stress.
You
Because
did
I
well
love
with
that
that too.
yeah, like the director will make the decisions, and then it was my responsibility to make all of those wishes happen within that time frame that needed to happen within the budget that production was allowing to happen. And that type of stress I enjoyed. I enjoy
Mhm.
running the things in that matter, but in the end there is something about editing that allow maybe for more creativity when you are in the chair editing. So I think maybe that's why I kept going back to the chair and behind the computer.
I love it. You're actually not the first intern that told me. There was in season one of Weighing In on the Way In, Mariah Bailey was an intern of mine too, and she was like, "You got me into producing." I'm like, "I'm so happy to hear that." All right, so let's get into the next question. Do you prefer editing over ADing?
I think so. Sometimes I miss that spark that comes from being on set. Because
Mhm.
as an editor, there's a lot of things that I love, but I also spend a lot of time in a dark room, right? In a way,
By
in my
yourself?
little, although
Yeah.
it's my little cave, and I love my cave, but at the same time, I'm so social too, which for an editor can be a little not normal, I guess. I don't know. So
Yeah.
sometimes I do
Yeah.
miss assistant directing. I do miss that sometimes, but I do
Okay.
prefer editing. Yeah.
What's the name of the company that you work for? Are you okay to say that?
Yeah. Then the company I work for is called Company 3. And so what I do as an editor there is finishing editing. So I don't select the cuts. I just make the cuts be good to perfection. Like I make everything be absolutely perfect. And it's funny. I have on Friday. I have this career speech, inspirational career speech, and I was telling them about to explain what I do. That issue with the Starbucks cup in Game of Thrones, that's part
Hmm.
of what I do as a finishing editor, making sure that doesn't happen. So I want to believe, should I have been there in that project working on that, it would not have happened because that's
What
part of
was
what I
it?
do.
I'm not familiar with that. What happened?
Oh, so in this show, Game of Thrones, there was a Starbucks cup or a coffee cup in the middle of one of the scenes. And this is based years ago and in a different world. So, like, having like a normal day to day coffee cup could not have been there as part of a prop. So,
Yeah.
as a finishing editor, you are one of the person and one of the people and one of the teams in charge to make sure that's not there and remove it. So it would
Okay.
be that would be part of my finishing VFX that I do, like removing things like that, or production markers on the floor, or a boom shadow above a head, things like that.
Are you using AI technology to do some of these, erasures?
No, not really, unless you consider, because the editing programs or the VFX programs have things built in to rotoscope. For example, there is more AI, but that has always been there. It's just a little bit better of a tool now. But
Yeah, because some of the stuff that I've seen that these AI programs can do, it's basically like you can just dot around, like put a dot here, a dot here, a dot here, a dot here, and then it'll take out
yeah,
the whole background. Like the rotoscoping is like that was so difficult at one point, and you had to be, with the hair, you have to be like so
yeah,
specific and careful and make sure you get every little thing. Like AI basically like does it like that in like less than 30 seconds. It's
yeah,
crazy
that's true.
from what
Yes,
I've
but
seen.
at the same time, it does it, but you still need to be like, for example, if that would be for like a post that I would do by myself on social media, that would be okay. But for the type of work that I do, that's not enough. So even though I will use the tool is called a magic mask in the program that I use to
Mhm.
rotoscope, I would do the lines to do it. Like I would do like a line, a line, a line, and then it creates the shape, but then I need to go and fix little things to make it
Yeah.
look to perfection, because otherwise you can tell like that there, that's not
Yeah.
right.
What is your an editing salary like in this type of position?
I think I'm very average, to be honest. I think that the because I work in finishing, I think finishing is a lower rate than other editing things. Working for a big post production company brings you a higher salary than working for a less prominent post production
Okay.
house.
So what's the range at your level?
I think the range goes from 25 to like 55. So I think
Okay.
there's like a 30 thing when it goes around there. I think the people
Okay.
that earns the most at my level might be at that 55, I think.
Okay. Okay. Well, tell us your best editing secrets.
I think that when you're editing, you have to have a feeling for it, because things you can choose between so many different shots, like a close-up, a wide shot, and then everything has a meaning and everything tells the story in a different way. So being able to relate to what's happening and make it in a way part of you, like that's something that I do when I'm creating a video, when I'm editing something. To me, it's part of me. Of course, it's like professional, but part of my personal goes into it. Part of
Hmm.
my heart goes into it. And I think
Yeah.
that's what makes it beautiful, because I am allowing myself to connect with the story of what that video is saying. And then it just has a different level of edition. It adds an extra layer of caring. I think when you
Yeah.
care about something, you make it better, because it's
It
part of you,
shows.
something you care about. So then you're not going to let something you care about be mediocre. You're not going to do that, right? And also check things twice and three times every time. It doesn't matter. You think you have checked something, then it comes out, tend to have the thing to check it again, because if you don't check it that third time, it might be like, how did that happen? How did that happen? I checked it before I uploaded it. When it uploaded, what happened? How is that not there? How is
It
that
did
not?
its own thing.
Yeah, so
I know
because
exactly what you mean.
yeah, something that
Um,
I keep reminding to this day. I keep reminding to myself, and I try to put it as a must. Check it one more time.
but you have to step away from it, right? Because
Yes,
sometimes
yes,
your
yes, yes. Check
eyes
it one
are
more
just
time
seeing the
after.
same
Yes.
thing over and over.
Yes, and that's something that I needed to learn too, because sometimes you're like, it's almost there. No, I'm this close. I have to keep on it. Sometimes it has so much value to get out of the room, grab a glass of water, come in. Then you see things differently because you had a chance to breathe in and out.
I know when I'm working on a project and I'm in post production, I'm not editing, but I'm in post production reviewing the edits. How do you turn it off? How do you like, do you go to sleep at night and you're thinking about the edit? I know when I was doing my web series, I woke up, I was dreaming about, oh, I can change that. And in the morning, I woke up and I was able to like go in and change something. So, but How do you turn it off? Because it can kind of drive you crazy if it's like always in your mind, right?
Yes, 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 yes. I think that for that specifically, my pregnancy helped me a lot with that. I learned actually a lot. That's probably why I wrote that book too, because I learned so much about not only the pregnancy, but about myself and how to deal with things that weren't directly related with the pregnancy. Because I would be that person, the person that I would go to sleep thinking about it. I would wake up thinking about it. I would drive thinking about it. I would eat thinking about it. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was doing a lot of meditation, which I didn't really ever do before, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that helped me understand I'm gonna be a better focused professional if I step out. And I didn't let myself stepping out of whatever thought that was for the longest time. And since my son, I think that I have been better at it. Probably because I think work has always been my absolute everything. It didn't
Mm-hmm.
matter. I love my family, but there was work. I love something, but there was work. And now my son is like, well, there's work, but there's Lucas.
And he's
And
everything.
exactly. So, yeah, I think it was actually my pregnancy process and trying to really calm myself down and bring, because I'm really like up here all the time, and because I wanted to continue doing so much stuff while I was still pregnant, and my pregnancy was amazing, but there was a couple of things that I needed to bring my, I guess, stress levels or activity levels a little down. I think
Hmm.
that I needed to make it happen. So my brain needed to have a constant relaxation, in and out. So I
Yeah,
think
for
that
sure, especially
that's
when
what
you're
did
pregnant.
it.
Did you work throughout your pregnancy?
Yes, until the last month.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes,
And
I worked until month 8, because aside of editing, I'm also a Zumba instructor. So I'm dancing in a way and I'm working out in a way. And because I was
wow.
so active, Lucas almost came out sooner than he needed to. So I needed to cut everything. So month 8, week
Your doctor
32.
was like, go to your bed and stop doing what you're doing.
Well, I kept doing things, but calmly. Yeah.
So, how did you know that you were a good editor? Like, when did you get to that point where you were like, you know what? I'm good at what I do.
I don't really know. I believe that probably two things: my own feeling of this has a flow, this has a pace, this feels good when you watch it. But I think also seeing other people reacting to the work that I was doing, because I might think it's something good, but if the audience or the producers, the directors don't believe it is, even though I think it's amazing, it might not be. Because I'm not the only one watching it. I'm not the only
Right.
one that is gonna see that product. So I think it probably was a combination of both.
Right. And you also have to trust, your creativity, right? I
Yeah.
feel like,
Yes.
I don't know, I think I trust my creativity a lot. Am I always on point about it? Maybe no,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I feel like I know what people will like. Like, I know what
Mhm.
soundbite will resonate with somebody. I know if you're doing this creative project, I know that people will like it.
Yeah. I
So,
think empathy
yeah.
is a big part of it too. Empathy in the sense that you put yourself in whatever other people's skin, meaning, for example, this video is targeted for this type of audience, how this type of audience will enjoy it, and then mix that with your own personal touch and be like, this is how I feel it's better. And then I think they're gonna resonate with them. I think it's gonna have a good impact
Yeah.
on them.
I have always been so fascinated and impressed by your drive. And it makes sense, right? Because you were saying when you were younger, like, I always said, you were a busybody. You always had to be doing something. You didn't want to be still. You didn't want to be stagnant. I know that when I met you, I feel like, you know, you were editing, you were involved in this project, you were dancing, and then you recorded some music.
Oh
You
yes.
were just doing so much. And when I read your bio and saw that you had already written a book, I thought Ave la Abeja series was like, your first book was your debut book. So tell me about Historias de Comienzo. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, stories of beginnings. Yeah, that was a novel about different beginnings of love stories. I started writing that one when I was, I think, 13. And I just
Wow.
kept it and I continue adding every once in a while. And I think I published it when I was 21. If I remember correctly, I was 21. And that's when I published that one. And that one had a big success.
What were the stories about? Were they couple relationships or stories with like a parent and a child? What were the love stories about?
Mostly couples, but there was family. So basically, it was relationship based on couples, but there was also like love, family love, and friend love, and
Okay.
different types of love too, and how
So they were
things.
short stories?
Yeah, short, 8 short stories. Yes,
8 short stories. Okay.
yes, there were
And
8 because the symbolism of the infinity, which is like
okay.
let me see if I can do it, like an
Yeah, the
8.
infinity sign.
It's an
Yes.
8. So yeah.
Nice. I love it. You self-published it or did you look for a publisher in Spain?
No, that one was still self-published. I was looking for publishers when I was doing the Avila Beca ones.
Hmm.
It's just like most of the places are either not taking, or I have one that got to me, never heard back. A couple actually, 2 got back to me. One never heard back. The other one said will come back. But then I just wanted to put the story out. I'm also trying to get it out to have the libraries, which I actually might be able to get Avila Beja into the library circuit for children. I know, I'm so excited. I'm now I'm waiting again. This is like this waiting game.
Yeah. But that's good. The tendency is that people wait to get a stamp of approval. Like, okay, this publisher says that my book is good and they're going to publish it for me. And if they don't get that, they feel like they can't move forward. But there are so many resources and new opportunities for us to just like having your own platform and just being able to self
Yeah,
publish. And now you have what you may have been getting passes on, you have it out in the
yeah,
world and people are
yeah,
enjoying it. And when I got the second book, I was like, what? A second book? I was like,
yeah,
I love this girl. You're just so ambitious. And then what I love about Abela Abeja is that you're like, okay, because the first one was about the pandemic, right? And so,
yes,
and it was really cute. And obviously, there was the English and the Spanish. But then when you come with the second book, it's like you're honing in on the fact that, hey, this is a bilingual book. And
yes.
people always want to teach their kids a second language. It just develops their
Mhm.
brain and makes them more, great to operate in society when you can speak a different language. And so I was like, this is such a great concept. It's not a new
Yes,
concept, but it's a great concept. And I love that you're continuing on with the series. So
yes, and I love to write a third book. Like I would like to make a longer series, and now like Lucas can inspire me. How do I want to teach him something and then put that into the book? And the reason why
great.
this started also is because there's not as many books that are to teach the kids from the beginning. There are many books that teach you the colors, the days of the week, the
Hmm.
numbers, and
Hmm.
from that you go to like full Spanish or full
Right.
English.
Oh wait, you
But
forgot Los Animales. They do animals too. So
yes,
it's like
yes,
colors,
exactly.
numbers, and Los Animales, and the days of the week and the months.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So we know with this one you have like the an actual story. An actual
Yeah.
story that you can read that has a meaning, that has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and words that stand out. And also my perspective was there are many parents that might not know both languages but will love their kids to know both languages. So my vision is by having simple story, one page is one language, the other page is the other language, then the parent that's reading can understand that too, hopefully, and then help the kid learn too. So I was trying to put all of that, all
You
of
did
that
an
into the
you
book.
did an excellent job. I absolutely
Thank
love it.
you.
You did an excellent job.
Thank you.
And hopefully a publisher will catch on and you'll be
Yes.
with Random House or you'll be with another big, publishing
Yes,
company.
yes. They are opening in May, they are opening again their submission process.
Hmm.
So I would love to see if I can get them to read it, get them to know it.
What have you learned about the children's submission process that you can tell the audience?
For some reason, it's only happening for like a month a year. I don't really understand why certain things are happening, and then they only want certain type of books. Like they're open for a month or two a year, the submission process. And that year they only want books from 5 to 7, or books that are about outer space. Like they're
Right.
very specific. I
Right.
imagine it's because maybe they have found that during the previous months to opening the submission process, they have a niche in that specific area. But I think they
Yeah.
get too specific.
What publishing houses are you looking at? So, because there
Oh,
are
I look at.
nowadays, there are a number of independent publishing houses that are
Yes,
that still
yes.
have.
I looked at so many, to be honest. I cannot even put names right now because I looked at so many and I tried so many. There are
Yeah,
different things. Some publishers need you to have an agent. If you don't have an agent, you can be
they don't
as
want to look.
good as you can be. They don't care.
Yeah,
And some
yeah.
others require you like a really high payment up front
Mm.
that I'm like, I can't do
Shouldn't
it.
be paying
I
anything.
am not
Mm-mm.
ready. It sounds fishy to me. Supposedly is the way to do it, but it sounds fishy to me. Like if you need me to pay you $5,000 for marketing and help you like have like a better paper and da da da, I'm like, and then you will get this back because then once the books are sold, then you get it back. But it just doesn't read good to me. So if it doesn't
Right.
feel good to me, I'm putting my foot down in that case. I'm like, I'm gonna step the other way.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, I love it. How has being a mother changed you and how you approach your career? And obviously you kind of answered that while you were pregnant, but now
yeah.
that you're what, 7, 8 months in, is about to be a year,
Yeah,
right?
no, 8 months. He's 8 months.
Yay. So how has that changed you and how you approach your career? Has your career taken a bit of a backseat because you work for a prominent production company now, right? And they do a
Yes.
lot of what, CW? Is it CW content or
Well,
what's
we
the
work
network?
for everything. So, in my post production house, we work for any network on the streaming service and the big five and everybody else, like you name it, Netflix, Discovery, Hulu, HBO. Basically, all of those are clients. So whoever comes into the company as a client that needs post production services from us, finishing and
Right,
coloring, then we put it out there, right, and we do the
right,
work.
right.
And so it's very demanding. Like I would say sometimes I know when I start, but I don't know when I end in the day. Like because it depends. Like if something has to be out, it has to be out. Especially
Yeah.
for me working for TV, whenever something has to be done, has to be done. And sometimes it will be done within a normal 8 hour work day, but sometimes it will take longer.
It'll go beyond that, yeah.
How Lucas or how my son has affected, I honestly think that I have a more healthy balance. I know I have to be rested. I always knew, but now I know.
Yeah.
And that I learned the very first few months because when I was dealing with having a lot of jobs at the same time, if I would be tired, I would do my best as a professional being tired. But then he needed to have his head hold, like, the very first months, they cannot do anything. And I also needed to be calm to try to produce milk to feed him and all of those things. And finding that balance, it actually came easier than I thought it would be, knowing how much I love my work. And I think now I have a healthier balance to
Yeah.
myself and to my family, meaning my work is important, but my baby's life is literally directly depending on me. And if I am not healthy myself and I am not rested myself, I not be able to provide for him and noticing things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that it has affected in a positive way. I don't think my
It
work
is
has a
awesome.
backseat; it has a better seat.
It has a better seat. I love that. Would you say that you're happy in your professional life and your personal life?
So I feel very happy. I feel excited when I go into the office, and I feel excited when I'm back home. So in both ways, I'm actually excited to arrive either to the office or to home. So yes, I feel happy about
I
both.
love it. I love it. The podcast is called Weighing In on the Way In, which you're very familiar with because
Yes,
what would you say is the ultimate way in?
being determined. Get curious, keep moving, keep doing. Yeah.
I love that. All right, let's get into these rapid fire questions. You can
Like,
only choose one answer. Are you ready?
hope so.
All right. Spain or Los Estados? Unidos.
As of right now, Los Estados Unidos.
Post editor or author?
Post editor.
Own or rent?
Own.
More kids or stick to one?
More kids.
Dance or sing?
Oh my god. Okay, even though I haven't done it like that in a long way, sing.
Leave everything you know behind for a new adventure or play it safe.
In this stage of my life, though, I think playing it safe. Before Lucas, I think adventure. I think now I'm gonna say play safe.
Okay. Last one. Change something in your past or embrace all the ups and downs of your journey.
Embrace it. Embrace it. They all have taught something. Embrace it.
Yay! Sandra!
I'm like, I want to give details, but I need to be fast.
No, you were so good. I loved it. I loved the whole conversation. This is so good. Thank you so much. I'm so glad we finally did this. And thank you for your
Yeah, we made
patience.
it happen.
I
We made it
know.
happen.
Now it has to go into post production, and it hopefully doesn't come out 3 years later. That's not gonna happen. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I appreciate all of you, and I'd love for you to subscribe, like, comment, and I'll see you in the next video.